Welcome back to Friends with Benefits Car Club, the only car news show where sarcasm is street legal and duct tape might just be the next official EV recall solution. I'm Io, your host, your guide, and probably the only person still mourning the death of manual transmissions. Today's episode is stacked with drama. iShowSpeed mistaking a BYD for a first-class spaceship, two sports cars getting their pink slips after 2026, RIP in horsepower, Audi holding cars at the docks like it's building its own Fast and Furious spin-off, Tesla recalling the Cybertruck and fixing it with more glue, and yes, actual nuts, GM flexing a Corvette concept that looks like it should come with a free subscription to Cyberpunk 2077, Audi launching a gas-powered A6 just in time for it to not make it into the country, and AIpolice cameras now catching you doing TikToks in traffic. So buckle up, hit play, and let's dive into the chaos, because automotive news should never be boring. No. So, YouTube's loudest human, iShowSpeed, went to China and had a spiritual awakening, but instead of finding inner peace, he found the Yangwang U9, an electric hypercar from BD that looks like it came straight out of a Marvel crossover. Naturally, he wanted to take it back home to the US, possibly to flex on every Hellcat owner within a 5-mile radius. Only problem? He can't. And not just because BD won't sell it here. US vehicle import regulations basically treat foreign EVs like vampires. No entry unless they pass a ridiculous set of rules and tests. This is partly about safety, partly about politics, and mostly about making life hard for people who want to buy something cool that wasn't made in Kentucky. The U9 is a 4-motor beast, making over 1,000 horsepower, capable of dancing. Literally, it can hop up and down thanks to BYD's hydraulic suspension system. It has a 0 to 60 time that'll scare Teslas, and styling so dramatic, it makes a Lamborghini Huracan look like a Prius on a coffee break. But even with all that, Speed can't have it. Not unless he wants to pull a Fast and Furious import drift and sneak it across the border in the middle of the night. So for now, the BD U9 remains a look but don't touch situation for American enthusiasts, which is fitting, because that's also how a lot of people feel about iShowSpeed in general. Don't get me wrong, I do like iShowSpeed and how he's grown his platform. He's one of the biggest streamers out there, traveling to countries all over the world, showing love to his fans without disrespecting their culture. That's rare, and it deserves props. The year is 2026. The streets are quieter, the revs are lower, the manuals have vanished. That's because 3 iconic sports cars are officially being pushed into retirement. And no, this isn't a drill. First up, the Toyota GR Supra. After bringing back the nameplate with help from BMW, Toyota's finally pulling the plug. That sweet inline 6, gone. The rear-wheel drive platform, history. We barely had time to appreciate the manual version before it got the axe. And just when the car started getting some love from the community too, then there's the BMW Z4, the Supra's Teutonic twin. This open-top roadster is saying Auf Wiedersehen with all the fanfare of someone exiting a Zoom call. Sales were lukewarm at best, but let's not act like this car didn't bring joy to people who wanted something flashier than a Miata, but less midlife crisis than a Corvette. And finally, the Porsche 718 Cayman and Boxster. Porsche confirmed that the current generation will be the last with internal combustion. Their successors will be electric, because if there's one thing Porsche knows how to do, it's build great EVs, and also completely enrage their fan base every time they change anything. So pour one out for these 3 legends. Whether you owned one, dreamed of one, or just admired them from a distance, they represented the last stand of the analog driver's car in a world being overrun by range anxiety and one-pedal driving. So what car from this list will you miss, and tell me why in the comments. So here's the situation. Audi has roughly 37,000 vehicles chilling at US ports, not because of a delivery strike or another software delay, but because of tariffs, those delightful little economic tools that are supposed to protect American industry, but end up feeling like a punishment for people who want to buy anything not made in Michigan. These tariffs, part of the Build American push, slap an additional 25% import tax on foreign vehicles. And Audi, whose factories aren't exactly located in Ohio cornfields, is now stuck between 2 terrible choices. Pass that cost on the buyers, or eat it themselves and watch their profit margins cry in German. The result? Cars just sitting there. Thousands of brand new Q5s, A6s, e-trons, and more sitting in port parking lots like they're waiting for prom dates that never show. Dealers are calling corporate, begging for inventory, and customers who pre-ordered cars months ago are now being told, yeah, about that delivery timeline. And while all this is happening, you can practically hear the whispers in VW Group HQ. Should we just send them back to Europe? Maybe offer them to Canadians instead? It's a logistical nightmare, a PR headache, and a perfect case study in how geopolitics now affects your ability to lease a luxury crossover. One thing's for sure, if you see an Audi parked in a random shipping yard on Google Maps, wave. It may be the closest you'll get for a while. Let's talk about GM's latest Corvette concept, because what even is this thing? unveiled not in Detroit, but in the UK. Because sure, let's get the people who drive on the wrong side of the road to redesign America's most iconic sports car. This concept is a radical departure from everything Corvette fans know and fear. First, the design. This thing looks less like a car and more like the Batmobile's younger, hotter cousin. It's so sharp it should come with a warning label, angled body panels, extreme aero, and a profile that screams, "I was drawn by someone who drank 3 Red Bulls and watched Blade Runner back to back." But what really has people talking isn't just the looks, it's the lack of a V8. For the first time, GM seems ready to ditch the Corvette's trademark powertrain in favor of something more future forward. Maybe a hybrid, maybe electric, maybe it runs on moonlight, and Elon Musk's tweets, we just don't know. Corvette purists are already lighting torches and sharpening pitchforks, screaming things like sacrilege and what's next, front wheel drive. But here's the thing, GM has already proven with the mid-engine C8 that it's not afraid to shake things up. And if this concept becomes the next gen C9, it's gonna split the fan base like the Red Sea. One half will praise the innovation, the boldness, the fact that a GM still wants to lead the performance pack. The other half, they'll be too busy crying into their Z06 brochures and mumbling about the good old days. The Cybertruck, Tesla's love letter to brutalist architecture and low-poly video games, the vehicle that was supposed to change the way we think about trucks and instead change the way we think about quality control. Tesla just issued a recall for all Cybertrucks. Not a few, not a batch, but every single one they've shipped so far. Why? Because the trim is literally falling off. That shiny, sharp exterior, it's apparently held on with less structural integrity than a Toddler's science fair project. Owners have reported trim panels flying off mid-drive, gaps wide enough to fit a sandwich, and some even claimed their Cybertruck looked like it had been in a fight with a weed whacker. Tesla's fix? Apply stronger adhesive and throw in a pair of nuts. That's it. Not a redesign, not a new part, just more glue and nuts. Imagine spending upwards of $80,000 on your truck and getting a recall email that basically says, yeah, we forgot to stick the pieces on properly, our bad. That's not innovation. That's what happens when you rush production and let vibes handle quality assurance. And let's not even talk about the burn marks some owners found under the panels, or the weird creaks, or the fact that Elon once claimed this truck could survive bullets, but apparently not wind resistance. Look, Tesla fans will defend it no matter what. It's just early production hiccups, they say. But when your truck needs arts and crafts time to stay road legal, it's hard not to laugh, or cry, or both. Imagine your Audi. You just finished designing the latest A6. It's sleek, it's refined, it's got more tech than a Silicon Valley startup. You ship it out, excited to give luxury sedan buyers one more hit of German engineering before everything goes full electric. But just as it arrives at US shores, the tariffs hit. A 25% increase in import costs, plus potential regulatory restrictions targeting non-American gas-powered sedans. It's like showing up to a party dressed to kill, only to find out you're at the wrong address and the building is on fire. Now Audi is faced with a serious question. Is it even worth selling this car here? US buyers are already shifting toward SUVs and EVs. The sedan market isn't what it used to be, and with these new costs, the A6 might price itself out of relevance. To be clear, this is not a bad car. It's probably the best A6 they've built, but that doesn't matter when you're fighting a political and economic uphill battle. Audi could pivot and go EV only in this segment sooner than planned, or they could watch this new A6 become a collector's item overnight, just because nobody wants to pay 25% more for a gas engine in 2025. It's a harsh reminder that timing in the car industry is everything, and sometimes even the best designed car shows up a year too late and gets smacked by policy instead of praised by press. Remember when getting pulled over meant you had a shot at talking your way out of a ticket? Maybe you smiled, maybe you lied a little. I was just changing the song, officer, and sometimes it worked. Well, those days are officially over. In Minnesota, the Department of Transportation ran a test with AI-powered cameras on just one highway, and in a single month, they caught over 10,000 distracted drivers. That's not a typo. 10,000 on one stretch of road. These aren't your dad's speed traps. These cameras use machine learning, facial recognition, and object detection to identify if you're texting, eating, using your GPS, applying makeup, or just looking anywhere other than the road. They can even differentiate between holding your phone and resting your hand near it. The future is here, and it's watching everything. Supporters say it'll make the road safer. Critics say it's a dystopian privacy nightmare. And you know what? Both might be right. Because while, yes, distracted driving is a real problem, it's hard not to flinch when Skynet starts handing out tickets, especially when it's doing it with more accuracy and less bias than human cops ever could. So if you're the type who scrolls TikTok at red lights or argues with Siri while merging, you might want to start behaving like there's always someone watching, because now there is. And that's a wrap on this week's Car News Madness, where luxury sedans are stuck at ports, Cybertrucks are falling apart like bad IKEA builds, and AI cameras are now snitching on you mid-lane change. Honestly, if this industry gets any weirder, we might need a padded helmet just to film the next episode. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. We can take it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Which story shocked you the most? Was it Tesla's arts and crafts recall fix, or Audi's luxury car yard sale happening at every major port? And if you want to catch up on previous episodes, I'll leave them up on the screen for you. Seriously, thank you for watching to the end. It means the world to us. Whether you're here for the laughs, the news, or just to hang out, you're part of the Friends with Benefits family. As always, thanks for joining us on this ride. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep driving, and remember, if the car you're driving doesn't make you feel like a superhero, you're driving the wrong one. Friends with Benefits, driving off.